talking about it. Money, money, money,
I'm
money.
seeing if that puppy licked all my makeup off.
The stock market rises and falls, but when it comes to investing, one thing that remains a constant is the gender investment gap. Women generally are more likely to save and less likely to invest than their male counterparts. Yeah.
So according to Ernest, the average woman has 26% less in her investment accounts than the average man. So if you've shied away from investing and are ready to take the plunge, certified financial planner and author of Investing Is Your Superpower, 5 Steps to Get Started with Investing, Shinobu Hindert is here to help. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So much to discuss. So right off the bat, why don't women invest as much as men?
Women like to feel in control and power. They want to make informed decision, and there's just a knowledge gap. So a lot of women get excited about it and then go, you know what, I don't know enough, and they try to steer away from it. And then there's the stigma that it's all risky or it's like gambling. So the first place to start is really understand what is the goal of the money. If you want to invest, what do you want to invest it for, and when are you going to actually use this money?
Right.
You know, and this brings up a good point too, because my mindset is, as a woman, you know, I don't really make that much money. I don't have that much money. Everything I do keep that isn't being shut out to rent or the cost of living, I want to just put my savings. I don't have a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money. So how can I invest? It can be overwhelming. Is that?
That's
incorrect.
Spot on. It is spot on. The feeling that people have is that I need more money to get started. And maybe 20 years ago you did. There were high minimums. There were all of these barriers to get started. You need to call a stockbroker. It was expensive. That is all gone. So there are no more minimums for a lot of different places, and you can even buy fractional shares. So if you can't afford, you know, an entire share of Google stock, you can buy a portion of it. So we have to get that out of our head and say, even if you have $10, I would challenge you, Alex, to say whatever you're spending on your cell phone bill, to also put that separately in an investment account for yourself.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Speaking
Pay
of,
yourself.
how do we select the type of investment account that we need? Because I think that's also a barrier. It looks like a graph, and what do I do?
I would play around with the different websites and the different apps that are available out there and see what speaks to you the most. You have a lot of fintech companies that have popped up. You have the Robinhoods of the world. You have the more traditional sites like Fidelity that have made a lot of improvements. And Stash is really fun. They do these stock parties. If you own some stocks in there, they'll do like a share party. So it's really what interface do you like to work with, and you can set up an account within 5 minutes.
Okay, so say you figure out, I know you mentioned Robinhood, I know there's Acorn, you figure out who's going to help you. How do you figure out what type of an investment to make once you've kind of narrowed that down?
I wouldn't overthink it. So if you're just like, I want to just get started, you can buy a broad-based index fund like an S&P 500 fund, a mutual fund, exchange traded fund. If you're saying, I have this money saved, maybe I want to buy a house in 8 years, or maybe, you know, I have another goal in 10 years from now, I don't know exactly what I want to do with this money, you can use a robo-advisory service. It's an automated investment where I just tell them 10 years from now, my risk tolerance is medium, and they'll say this is an investment, it's a minimal fee, and they do it for you. It's hands off. You can focus on being awesome on this show. And not have to
Well, I
worry
do need to
about it.
focus on that.
Can we talk about 401ks
yeah.
and IRAs and the alphabet soup that is some of these investments, which are some of them are employer based.
Right.
They help you out.
The retirement funds.
Yes. So that's the easiest place to start. I would not make it too much extra work for if you have an employer sponsored a plan like a 401k, especially if they do a match 3%, put in at least that. Otherwise, you're losing free money.
That's true.
And they might have something called an age-based fund that says based on how old you are now, by the time you reach 65, it's going to change the investments over time. If you want to do this on your own, you can buy individual stocks, mutual funds, again, doing that on your own.
I have a question for you. I'm just thinking about, you know, because I don't invest in anything besides my 401k. But I don't think I've touched it since I've started in the workforce. Like, I don't know. No, not like touch the money, but I don't think I've changed the type of investment. Should you be calling, I think ours is Fidelity, every 5 years, every X amount of time, and okay, I'm going to take something a little riskier, or like, is that something that you should be checking in on, or
would
how often,
know.
if so?
I would just know, what are you invested in?
Yeah.
Sometimes when I've worked with people, they think they've been invested this whole time. We pull it up and they're sitting in a money market.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I've been getting 2%. I thought I was invested.
Yeah.
So just have eyeballs on what you're invested in. And if you want to carve out a piece, like let's say 10, 20%, and you're like, I just want to let this ride and buy something, maybe I'm throwing it out there, but a biotech fund. And you're like, I'm hearing a lot about this. I want to put money in there, but if it doesn't work out, I'm not losing everything that I have. And if it works out, I'm making a lot on that end. But at least quarterly, I would just check in. Doesn't mean you have to make changes, but that you're in touch with what is in your account.
Yes. I would also add to that, when you call your brokerage firm, whomever it is, do a little bit of homework. Because I was on the phone for a very long time with a gentleman who was pressuring me to do stuff, and I kept saying, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you. And it's okay. And then you do your homework, and then you get back on the phone. And
that's exactly why I wrote my book. It's not that somebody needs to become an expert and do it on your own, but it helps you come up with those questions so you go into those conversations confident. You know, I relate it if you go to a doctor and they're talking a mile a minute because they have their next patient out there. You leave and you're like, what am I supposed to be doing? You feel embarrassed to ask those questions, but it's money you've worked for. It's your money that it's okay to ask those questions, and that's why they're there.
And that's why you wrote the book.
Thank God
that's why I wrote the book, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful information. If you want to learn more about investing, get the book, Investing is Your Superpower, 5 Steps to Get Started with Investing. Get it wherever books are sold.